Today, I am so excited to welcome one of my students on the podcast. She has been a student of mine since 2017. She's been around since the very beginning of when I started teaching people about online business. And I have watched her grow her blog into something so amazing. She helps so many people. And I'm so excited for you to learn more from her. Her name is Ruth Rackley, and she is a mom of two who ditched her busy, never-at-home job as a high-end wedding photographer in pursuit of raising her girls, dogs, baby calves, and way too many chickens to count with her husband on their family farm. Her goal is to inspire and teach busy moms like you to create and manage a profitable business so they can get back outside with their family enjoying life. Ruth is one of the sweetest and most humblest people I've ever met. And she has managed to pour so much into her business. She helps other people learn how to use essential oils and change their lives. And I think there's just so much that you're going to learn from her on how you can put out free content and give so much back while also making money and providing for your own family at the same time. So let's dive in and learn all about Ruth and her business and how she created her first digital product. You are listening to the Empowered Business Podcast. I'm your host, Monica Froese, a mom of two and your secret weapon to creating a six-figure digital product business. I'm on a mission to help 1,000 women make $100,000 a year. That's right, $100 million towards financial independence for women. As an online business expert, I am teaching you everything I know right here week after week, so you can join us on the journey to $100 million. Sound good? Then let's jump in. Welcome to the show, Ruth. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you. I am absolutely pumped. I have been so excited about this, so thank you.
Yeah. So can you tell us what your business is so everyone knows? And then how you got started even online? Like, how did you put this blog up and why?
Okay, so I actually blog about essential oils and how to use them properly. And the reason I got into it is because I used to have a photography business that I actually built the six figures all online. But the problem with that is that it was totally service-based. And if I wasn't behind the camera and clicking, then I wasn't making any money. And fast forward, I had kids, wanted to stay at home more, tired of being away for the weekends. So I thought, what better to talk about than something I was passionate about, which is essential oils. And so I created the blog.
Okay, so the blog is called By Oily Design, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, so set up some timeline because, I think probably once upon a time I knew that you did photography, but I think I forgot that. So, okay, how long did you have a photography business?
I had the photography business for 10 years.
Wow. And what type of photography?
I did high-end wedding photography. So to give you an idea, one of my last clients, their budget was $500,000.
Whoa.
And so it was, yeah. So when I did photography, I was leaving home for 4 days because that's how long my weddings would last. Because I shot from people arriving till the day after. And then I had all this work. And so I was putting in 60 to 80 hours of work a week.
So you were a master photographer, or you are a master. I'm not sure I knew this before. So this is, if you had told me, maybe I didn't really sink in. Okay, but that makes perfect sense to me when you had kids, because your kids are like 9, right? 9?
Yeah. My youngest is 6 and my oldest is 9. And it took us 10 years to have our first one. So if anybody, they know me, family is everything. Being a mom is everything. Like when we went to Disney and went to Ohana to eat that big family meal, they say Ohana is family and family is everything. There I am quoting Lilo and Stitch. And so it's everything. And I didn't want to give that up because it was such a blessing that I never thought I would have. And
so were you doing the photography during those 10 years before you had kids? And how did it over? Okay. Now when you had your first kid, is that when you started blogging?
Yes. Well, basically, I continued my photography business for about 2 years, 3 years after I had my oldest. And that's when I realized there was just no way I could keep pumping out the time, the product, all the things. And then that's when I switched to blogging because I was like, I just built a six-figure business all online. That was my
Yeah.
base. And so I knew that I could swap and create a blog on something that I loved, teaching other people, and I could turn that into a new revenue stream.
Okay, so here's the biggest question though. Why did you decide to do essential oils and not teach people how to do photography? Because back when you started this, the market for people wanting to learn how to use like DSLR cameras, I was one of them. I never followed through. I think I have 3 of them. Lenses. I don't know. I don't know anything about photography. It never happened. Now everyone's got their iPhone. And I would say a lot of photographers I've seen online have actually started pivoting towards teaching people how to take better pictures with their iPhone because nobody's carrying around in everyday life their big camera anymore. But back then, before phones were really like the only way to take pictures, what made you do essential oils instead?
I think hindsight, I probably should have, taught about photography, but I stumbled upon essential oils. They were a game changer for my health. And, most people, when they start out blogging, they're blogging about something that they're passionate about. And
Yeah.
yes, I was passionate about photography, but I was also kind of burned out. And so essential oils were just kind of the thing. And I will say that one reason I closed the doors to the photography business is I ended up with a cyst on my left retina, which is my shooting eye. And it stops me from being able to see if things are in focus. And
Oh
so
no.
photography got to a point where it was very frustrating for me. And it was one of those things that I thought, well, if I don't shut that door completely, even if I tried to teach it, I would probably still take jobs. And I mean, now 8 years later, I still get calls.
My husband and I had an interesting conversation recently. He has a very fun hobby that maybe at one point I'll have him on the podcast to talk about. He has a tape label, like a cassette tape label. Like, so it's very, this has always been a dream of his. Like he just always wanted to, he loves records. He collects records and he always wanted to have a label and he never had the liquidity to do it. And then I started this business and we have extra money and he wanted to start it. So we did. And he always talks about, and he has a really good corporate job. And like, this is not a profitable venture. It is very much in the hobby realm of things. But he would love it to be a business, but I'm skeptical that it could be like replacing his corporate income. But we have very good conversations about it. One of them that we recently had was once you turn your hobby into a business, it is not as fun. Like right now, he's having so much fun. And it reminds me of the early days of my blog. And it's not that I don't enjoy what I do, but it's not quite as fun as when it's a hobby. So essential oils, they changed your life. They were essentially like, essentially everything that you were like probably researching endlessly of how to use them. Cause you use them I know you've told me you use them for cleaning, your health, everything. Mm-hmm. So when you started blogging, did you start losing some of your passion for it?
For essential oils?
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm still at that stage where I still enjoy them and I still use them on a daily basis because it's become more of a habit. That's one thing about essential oils is that once you really incorporate them into your life, it's just natural to grab that cleaner that you've got made up and clean your house with it. And so where, with photography, there is the act of going and grabbing your camera and taking that photo and then sitting at a camera. It's not quite as easy to, meld into your lifestyle. And so there are times that, yes, I think it's more the act of blogging, the trying to constantly keep up with content, the constant trying to keep up with social media and bringing in organic traffic. That is the part that if I had to say was causing any burnout for me, it would be that. The constant trying to keep up, because you got to feed the beast. You got to feed Google. You got to feed Pinterest. You got to feed Facebook. It never ends. And so that's where for me, the burnout's coming from.
So 2 episodes back from when this will air, I did an episode called Is Blogging Dead? And the whole purpose, let me tell you, I put this on social media. I put it in my groups. I put it on social media, and there was like backlash, like no blogging said, well, actually, I will say some people were like, totally. And then other people were like, how dare you even insinuate it? I said, I didn't. I asked a question. It was, is blogging dead? I didn't say blogging is dead. And the summation of it is I said, blogging is not dead if done right. And blogging is really content marketing, and content marketing should be done to serve a purpose, which is to make you money. And if it's not, then it doesn't make any sense. Hence why I'm a supporter of digital products, because that's just how I teach. Like that's, there's many ways to make money. Your content marketing could support your service-based business. Like if you're a photographer, it can support your physical products. If you were selling essential oils, it can support your digital products, like my budgeting stuff or my group programs, whatever it is. The point is if you're pushing out a bunch of free content with no end game, like what is it going to get you? It doesn't make any sense. So that's what that episode's about. So now you have this blog, Bioily Design, and you have it. I've been on it many times. You have tons of free content on there, like tons of great free content. When you started blogging, what was the intent of that free content? Was it just to get traffic, like a lot of bloggers start, and then you're wondering, why do I have this traffic? Or what was your intent?
Well, it was kind of twofold, at first, because I'm coming from being an entrepreneur for so long. I knew that I needed various revenue streams. Just like with photography, I might do weddings, but I might also do children's pictures, blah, 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 blah. And so I knew that with the Bioily Design, first off, my first goal was, okay, let me get some money flowing. And that was ads. The more content I could have that answered questions that, got people there and drove traffic to the blog, then yes, that revenue from ads was going to be really important. But then I realized really soon that wasn't going to be as profitable as I thought. Yes, I know that there are people out there that make, a great salary every month running on ads alone, but I didn't want to rely on ad revenue anymore. And so the other part is that I thought, hey, if I create this blog that teaches people, that gives all this great content, maybe then those people will trust me to buy something, whether they buy oils from me or they buy a digital product. I wanted that trust factor. And there's actually some really cheesy videos on my blog where I tell them, hey, I'm giving you all this free content, so you can trust me. Because I'm giving you my knowledge. And so, it was twofold, make money from ads, but also make money from products. But now I've realized I've got to be even smarter, not work so hard.
So when you say ads, just to clarify, it's display ads. So it's the act of getting someone to your blog. The display ads are something you put on your site. Basically, you're allowing other businesses to advertise on your site. And this happens in the blogging world with ad networks. So like a big one is Mediavine, another one is AdThrive. And then I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with making an income from display ads. But what happens is you spend all this time getting this traffic, and you're offering this, and in your case, and I can vouch for this, great content, like really super in-depth, great content. But what happens is those ads are now taking them off your site. So you're losing them. And so what did you get from someone consuming your free content if then they click on an ad and they're off? You got a few pennies.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes those ads were for competitor products.
Yeah. Oh.
So talk about the big burn. I mean, huge burn. And I even contacted my ad network and said, hey, if I'm an essential user and essential people are coming to my site and your ads are targeting, I'm sending people away to a competitor oil company.
Yeah, honestly, and I've made no secret, even on this podcast, I don't care for display ads. I think they don't make the best user experience either, especially because most people are mobile. I'm usually on mobile if I'm consuming content online, and I find them super frustrating from a user perspective. But then even from a business perspective, it's like, I get that can be I think you need very high levels of traffic. And it's a different business model. Most people who are going to listen to this and who I teach, they're not at that level where they're getting so many page views that it really makes all that much sense for that to be like their big revenue source. So, okay. So then you also sold Young Living essential oils, but that is, you don't own that checkout, right? So you're a distributor of them, but you don't own anything to do with the checkout process. So
That's
you're
right.
kind of,
It's just like Amazon. You know, a lot of people don't realize that it's affiliate marketing. So I'm promoting somebody else's product and I cannot control the checkout at
but
all.
you quickly learned when we start working together. So
Yes.
Ruth and I worked together, oh my gosh, in 2017 when Ruth was in the beta round of my Pinterest ads course that feels like forever ago.
I
So that
know.
was the winter of 2017. And I remember talking to you about this because I said, you know, you can run ads to this, but what's going to happen is you have no insight into the conversion, into like the actual sales process. You'll see it come up in your dashboard, but what impacted that, like following it through, anytime you don't own some part of the process, that's going to make optimization really difficult. So I think back then we had talked about, and I'm a firm believer in this, I can get really jazzed about this because, so I have my personality and the fact that I have no time. I don't want to consume a bunch of free content that I have to seek out and go to, you know, it's because free content is it's never the complete picture, right? Nobody's giving the complete picture for free. And I just don't have time. I'm very like, just give me the information I need. So once upon a time, I had tried essential oils and it was a disaster because I didn't know what I was doing. And honestly, it really, when it was Young Living that I got, but like even their literature about it, they made it too complicated. I just wanted someone to distill down what I needed to know, like very simply. And probably I would venture to guess everything I need is actually probably on your blog. But the reality was someone like me doesn't want to go and read a million blog posts to piece it together. What I would have liked was a nice guide and I would have paid you for it. And we talked about that. And I know it's almost like people who start blogging that when they enter this world and they're blogging, it's so hard for them to realize that people would actually pay for that free content in an aggregated fashion. And I remember when I told you that, you were like, no, like people aren't going to buy that from me. And I'm like, I would. So you did end up creating a digital product though, but it wasn't a how-to guide, right? It was a recipe guide.
It was a recipe. Yeah. So basically, you know, the big thing for people entering into essential oils, the easiest thing is to do diffuser use and, you know, make your house smell pretty. And so I created the diffuser guide of recipes. And I probably should have done what you suggested, but a lot of it is you know, and my mind has changed. But back then, I didn't think I was enough. I didn't think I knew enough. And now what I realize is that my customer's journey isn't where I am right now. I'm not trying to teach and instruct Ruth Rackley. I am out there to teach Monica and the women that are just like her who need the absolute basics. And so no matter where you are in your journey of whatever your digital product is, there's somebody at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, and okay, so we always take for granted how much we know. Everyone does. I mean, I do it all the time, even like intellectually, because intellectually I think we're pretty good at understanding that we do know a lot. Like, you know that you know a lot about essential oils, but emotionally, and this is where men have an edge in business. It drives me nuts. They don't let emotion get involved. And I try so hard not to let emotion get involved as well, because, and I see it with my husband all the time. We talk about it because he's like, who cares? You know, it just, that the imposter syndrome and the mindset stuff doesn't impact him like it does me. And I found, you know, working with many men over the years that just, it's pretty generalized statement. I'm sure there are men that suffer from imposter syndrome and stuff. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that they have an easier time just keeping their eyes focused on like the practicalities of, I have this knowledge and I'm going to sell it to you and I'm going to take the money and I'm not going to feel bad about it. And then we get in our heads and we're like, we don't know enough. We have to be the premier expert before I can sell it. And the reality is, you know more on the topic than anyone else. And you only have to be 1 to 2 steps ahead of them. And people enjoy learning from people who have just recently gone through it. So And that because you can connect then. So like when essential oils changed your life, that's how someone connects to you and wants to learn from you. Because they're like, wow, look at what it did for her. And you show them through your transformation. You're like, let me help you do the same thing. And then there's that level of trust that goes into it. But if you were just like stale about it, like you just scientifically knew everything there was to know, right? Like you were like the scientist in the lab, you'd be boring and no one would want to learn from you, even though you might be more of an expert if that was the case. You know what I mean? So it's all about like your personality and connection, in my opinion. And
that's totally right. And I love that you brought up the fact about emotion, that we get emotionally tied to what we think we're putting into our computers and into the internet and that whole worthiness that we go through. And I'm going to share just a little thing that Monica did for me. Back in, I guess it was right around or before Christmas. I don't know if you remember that Voxer
I do.
Where, and I'm probably going to get all emotional, but I sent her a call and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm to the point now because I had watched my essential oil blog and business go through a really bad dip. A lot of it had to do with my mom has pancreatic cancer. And I was trying to hustle and do all the things. I was waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning to create content to give away for free and then rushing 2 hours to be by her side and then rushing back, coming to pick up kids. And I was doing all the things and everything was falling apart. And the only money I was really making was from ads because I was hiding my digital product that I did create behind a wall that nobody could ever find. And it was a whole big mindset thing. And I remember, that Voxer saying, Monica, I don't know, something has to change. I either have to give this all up and walk away and focus on my family, because again, family is everything, or I have to make this work. And, with your help and a lot of mindset. And by the way, if y'all have not listened to episode number 8, where Monica talks about mindset, mind blown.
That's the one with Chelsea, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. But a lot of this with the digital products is complete mindset. And if you can't get out of your own way, because I'll be honest, when I put this latest digital product out, I literally physically got ill. My nerves were so shot. Because I was so scared about what people think. And then I realized, who cares? Who cares what they think? The person who's going to want to buy from me, they're going to be drawn to me. Not to that I don't care about person, Yeah,
that's why I don't care about unsubscribes. And that was, okay. Business is like a gigantic journey, right? So it's funny, the mindset issues I had 2 years ago, I can sit there and laugh at that girl that had those mindset issues. But like, every time I think I've overcome my mindset issues, something else comes and smacks me over the head and makes me feel like I'm not good enough. Like you can't really escape it, but it's funny because unsubscribes, in the beginning days, it's like, oh my gosh, these people don't like me. And now it's like, whatever, bye. I'm here to help the people who want to be helped. Like, I'm not here to like convince you that I should be your best friend. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. Like, just unsubscribe. It's fine. So when we talked in December, one of the first things I did was I went to your website and your product was hidden. And I said, because your Voxer pretty much went like this: nobody is buying my stuff. And I said, okay. So I went to your website and I'm like, how do I buy your stuff? And that's a problem. But this is a very common problem. I would say, Haley and I were just talking about this. I would venture to say 75% of my students come to me and say, I have a digital product, it didn't sell. So I don't think people really want to buy my digital product, or I don't really think it's good enough, or they have all these reasons. And then you ask, well, how have you tried to sell it? And there's crickets. You can't find it on their blog. They've never talked about it. They haven't even told their best friend about it because they're embarrassed. So it's like, so how are people going to buy this? Right. So this is very common. And I think that makes people feel better that it's very common. Of course, the whole point of what I want to see people do is, actually attempt to put it somewhere where people can buy it. So we talked about that on Voxer. And then when you ended up joining the Empowered Business Lab, which is the program I do now to help people create their digital products and then actually sell them. And you chose to, instead of going the route of teaching people how to use essential oils, you're teaching people how to have their own Young Living distributor business, right?
That's right. Basically, it's how to be profitable with it.
Okay.
And how to, and when I say profitable, it's just like a lot of people are, well, let me back up. A lot of distributors or what we call brand partners or women, they have never owned a business in their entire life. They get drawn into essential oils. They say, hey, I could sell these, but they have no clue how to manage it so that they are profitable. And when I say that, they're spending a ton of money on oils for themselves, sharing it on social media, but they have no clue the ebb and flow of all their things. And so I'm trying to teach that because that is a gap
A
and
huge gap.
huge gap. That's what gives MLM such a bad name is because people don't think of them as an actual business and they don't look at them like I do as affiliate marketing.
I was just going to say that you pointed this out earlier, that you treated it like an affiliate marketing relationship. And that's always to me what has made you different. Like you viewed it as a true understanding. It's like a lever for you to pull in your business. It wasn't your whole business. But you're right that when people go to learn about essential oils and they start buying it, that's sort of the push of MLMs, is that they want you to sign up to be a distributor. But what ends up happening is, and I've seen it time and time again across so many different products, women do put a ton of money into it and they get a whole ton of products, but they end up upside down. And I've seen some unfortunate circumstances in the past with these types of things. And so, but if you're going to teach people already how to use the essential oils through your blog and they're interested in signing up under you, which is a perk if they do that to you, why not teach them how to do it right, which is essentially what you're doing? Because there are a lot of people who will sign up just by nature of wanting to use the oils. So now you're going to help them do it in a non-skeezy, all the things that people think negatively about MLMs. You're like, let's just not do it that way. Let's do it in a profitable way where it benefits you and it helps you help people in your life and you can be profitable with it and actually have like a real thing. So, okay. So now you create this product while you're going through the lab with me. And there was a point where you said to me and the group, you said, so I've created my product. It's all ready. You can buy it. And I have an email list. I think you told me you had 14,000 people on your email list. And then you dropped the nice bomb but I haven't emailed them in a year and a half.
That's right.
And that made you nervous because then you're like, now I'm going to pop in their box and they're going to be judgy about who's this girl that I haven't heard from. Why is she emailing me? Like the whole mindset thing there, right?
Total mindset. I mean, if you want to talk about the negative mindset going on in my head, it was so scary. But I will tell you that when I got in there and I was talking to them like a friend and just saying, this is what's helped me. I want to help you. I got such a great response. And yeah, I got, I think 200 unsubscribes. But you know what? I was really close to the 5,000 mark and they saved me money. And so them unscribing was a blessing is what I think. And,
I mean, 200 unsubscribes after not emailing for a year and a half is like nothing. I was just looking at my ConvertKit today. I had 157 people unsubscribe from last Thursday's email telling them about my podcast. Now, granted, my list is a lot bigger than that, but still, like, you don't want to hear about my free podcast? Okay, bye. Like, it doesn't. And honestly, too, what was the worst someone was going to say? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. This is for everyone who's listening too, that has ever hesitated. Like, why would I grow an email list? What am I going to say to them? What if they don't like me? What if they think I'm stupid? Who cares? You don't even know these people. They're in cyberspace. It's like, what are the worst they could have said was, how dare you tell me about free essential oils?
I have gotten some nasty ones, but then I realized that if they took the time to send a nasty email, there's more of an issue with them and going on than there is with me. And here's the other thing. If I wasn't there giving my point of view, the information that I have, somebody might get it from somebody else who's not as honest as me. And I honestly want to help other people, build their businesses in an ethical way. And if I'm not stepping up to the plate and presenting them with a product that can help teach them how to do that, somebody else who's skeezy and nasty is going to slide in and woo them and not be me.
And think about it like this too. Someone like me who, if I'm going to get back into essential oils, I really just want shortcuts. Like I don't want to go on Google and Pinterest. I do not have time for that. I just want a simple guide that's going to make it about as like dumbed down as possible. So, but I think what people sometimes don't understand is like, I'm sitting there ready to spend the money, right? When I make up my mind that I'm going to get the oils and I just want the simple guide to teach me how to use it, I'm going to spend the money. So whether you're offering me to spend the money or not, I'll just find someone who is.
That's right.
You're not, that's the weird part I find with this mentality of selling oftentimes with women, particularly that I run into is they think that for some reason it's wrong to ask for money for their knowledge. And it's like, but if I'm not going to pay you for it and you have the knowledge, I am just going to go pay someone else. Why shouldn't it be you? I don't understand. Like I do understand it. But then like when you really think about it and peel back what that is, it's like, you're not forcing anyone to spend money with you. You're just offering something that can honestly, that you truly believe in, that can help them. And you're supporting your family off of it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. And here's the thing. There is no digital product out there that's rocket science that somebody hasn't already created.
Yeah.
But you know what? What I've created is going to help some people. And it's okay and here's the new thing that I have learned is it doesn't have to be perfect. You can sit on creating a digital product for a year and keep saying it needs to be perfect. People don't want perfect.
They don't.
I want, like you said, something easy and fast. I can't tell you, ever since COVID started, I have bought digital products on decluttering my house, how to get my kids to do chores. This mama needs some help. And there's mamas out there that, need help too in all kinds of different ways, that there are people listening to this podcast that they can feel that need. All they've got to do is sit down and create a digital product. And again, it doesn't have to be rocket science.
As a matter of fact, we want to put too much in oftentimes because we know so much that we think we have to put it all in a product. And I always say, a $47 product can't boil the ocean. Like,
yes,
it can't, and you're going to lose people. People want easy. They want to get from step A to step B in the easiest way possible. My mind always thinks of the logic tables from algebra. Logic is like my thing. And I love piecing together, like I'm at point A and I need to get to point D. And B and C might be like scattered all over. And I want someone to take B and C and make it a linear line for me. Like that's basically what a digital product does. You're just instead of making me go to 10 people's blogs who might have 10 different opinions about how to make the same cleaner on essential oils, you're just taking out those squiggly lines and you're giving me a linear path.
Well, and here's the thing too. If you feel like you got to add that extra, make it an order bump.
Yes, she learned something.
I did.
Because I'm off before we were recording. She said her first digital product, she didn't have an order bump on. That's one of like the core things I teach. I'm like, it's all about increasing the average cart value. Order bump, order bump, order bump. It's like a no-brainer. It's a little button that's on the checkout page. Like it's a no-brainer.
And when you get that right order bump, like this current digital product that I'm using for businesses, I created an order bump that is so naturally connected to my product that I have yet to have somebody not add on that extra $7.
I feel like you really listened.
I did finally. It took me, I think we've known each other 5 years. It finally took me 5 years of mom brain to get to let it sink in, because I'm one of these people, I think I should know it and understand it and master it like the first time I hear it. But one thing that digital products has kind of humbled me is that sometimes I got to get out of my own way and listen to Monica and
just do it. You just got to do it.
Yeah. And the amount of money that I've made in this first quarter compared to last year, because I listened for finally and quit being, scared of my own self, it shows.
So when you emailed that list after a year and a half, you got sales, didn't you? Because you had this product ready to go. And you got sales from that very first email.
I
even
sure
though they
did.
hadn't heard from you in a year and a half.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is so right. And so that goes to show that I think too that when they sign up, if you do your work with your initial opt-in and you know, they can trust you, that like, know, and trust factor happens, then yeah, you can slide in, life's going to happen to people. And it happened to me, and year and a half later, I had people buy in.
Which is incredible, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think back, if you, Monica, had to stop for a year and a half emailing, which I cannot imagine because you were like the email queen, I would still buy from you because I absolutely like, know, and trust you.
Yeah, I will say it is pretty incredible when you email people regularly. I was at a conference right before COVID hit, and it was a conference I'd never been to, and it wasn't even in my niche. And I had people coming up to me being like, oh, like they knew me. They were talking to me about my kids, and I didn't know them. It was really weird. Then I asked, of course, their names, and they're like, oh my, yeah, I've been following you for years. And like, they knew stories that I told in email. And I'm like, wow, this is like incredible, the power of what email did. Total strangers recognized me. I'm like, this is weird. I had a couple people with me, a couple other bloggers, and they're like, are you like a celebrity? And I'm like, no, this is seriously strange. But that's the power of some of the people I was with had bigger online presence than I did in terms of like traffic to their site and stuff. But I spent so much time getting people to know and like me through email that they weren't the ones getting people to come up to talk to them. They were coming up to talk to me because they felt like they knew me because I told stories about my kids and my postpartum struggles. And they're like, oh my gosh. Like I've had people tell me I've helped them with their migraines and going on to have a second kid because they had postpartum like I did, all this crazy stuff. And it's like, wow. Okay, Ruth.
Yes.
It has been a pleasure talking to you today. And I'm super excited to see how the products, well, first of all, I'm excited to see how the business product's going to go, teaching other people how to sell living young essential oils. But also, I know you're going to create really amazing guides to help people use essential oils. I will be one that will actually purchase it and then maybe actually use my essential oils after all these years. Because I know you're going to do it and it's going to be great and you're not going to hide and it's going to be like a buy button on your website, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So if people want to get to know you better and come learn from you or buy your product, where can they find you?
They can find me at byoilydesign.com, on Instagram at byoilydesign, and Facebook again, the group By Oily Design.
Awesome. And we'll link to all of this in the show notes as always. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Ruth.
All right. Thank you.
I hope you are leaving this episode as inspired as I am. Ruth has truly been an inspiration to me for many years, and I am just so proud of everything that she has accomplished. And I'm so proud that she decided to put herself out there and help other women grow their own essential oil businesses and help other women learn how to use essential oils to benefit their life. She is just such a wealth of knowledge, and to see her be able to share that knowledge with all of us is just, it's so great to see. Now, one of the things we talked about in today's episode is about our program called the Empowered Business Lab. Now, this is our 6-month signature program that empowers you to create a digital product sales machine, and it's a complete solution for creating, strategizing, building, and selling your digital products. This system can be used over and over again, and you don't have the pressure to show up live to deliver your content. You create the content once, and you can sell it over and over again. Inside the program, you will create a sales machine for your digital products that brings consistent leads and sales into your business every single day. It's simple, repeatable, and scalable, and guess what? It is open. As this episode airs, the cart has officially opened. You can go enroll if you're interested in sharing your knowledge with the world and getting paid at the same time to do it. You can enroll in the Empowered Business Lab right now, and you can do that by going to empoweredbusiness.co/lab. I just, again, want to thank Ruth for sharing her journey and story with us. And if you resonated at all with her story and there's something in you that you want to show and teach the world, I really, truly believe digital products is a great way to do that. So I hope you'll consider joining us inside of the Empowered Business Lab. Again, you can go to empoweredbusiness.co/lab to learn all about it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Empowered Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave a rating and review. I read each and every one and love hearing from you. As always, you can find all of the links and information mentioned in this episode at monicafroze.com/podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in.